It was just another Friday night at a roadside diner in Atlanta. Laughter, music, the clink of glasses. Then a biker stood up, leather jacket, tattoos, a face carved by time, and in one sudden motion, he tore the waitress's shirt open. Gasps, screams, someone called 911. But no one moved, because what they saw on her chest wasn't skin. It was a map, a faded, inked map of a village in Ghana, and the biker fell to his knees, because he recognized it, not from a book, not from a dream, from his own mother's back. Her name was Amina Cole, 28, a night shift waitress at Mama Lou's diner. She lived in a small apartment above a laundromat, worked 2 jobs, and saved every dollar for one purpose: to return home. Not to Atlanta, to Ghana. Amina was raised by her grandmother after her parents died in a fire when she was just 2. All she had of them was a single photo. Her mother in a traditional kente cloth, smiling beside a baobab tree. And one mystery: the tattoo on her mother's chest, passed down through generations of women in her family. It wasn't just art. It was a spirit map, drawn in ash and indigo by village elders, showing the path from slavery back to their ancestral land. A map of survival, of return. Her grandmother whispered its meaning every night. When you're ready, the map will guide you home. But in America, that map made her a target. At school, kids called her scarred. At jobs, managers asked, "Can you cover that up?" One nurse refused to touch her during a medical exam. Still, Amina wore it proudly, a half-circle of ancient symbols across her chest, inked at 18 in a ceremony under moonlight. She never spoke of it, never explained, because some truths are too sacred for words, and she believed deeply that one day she would walk that map. But first, she had to survive the world that didn't understand her. One cold November night, the diner was packed. Truckers, nurses, a few college students, and in the corner booth, a lone biker named Malik. He didn't talk, didn't smile, just drank black coffee and stared out the window. Amina served him without a word. But when she turned, her uniform button snapped, and for a split second, the top of her tattoo peeked through. Malik froze. His hands trembled. He asked, voice low, "Where did you get that?" Amina stepped back. "I don't discuss it." But he didn't let go. "That symbol, the spiral with the 3 dots, where is it from?" She narrowed her eyes. "It's not yours to know." He leaned in. "It's from Asante, from the village of Nkoranza. My mother had the same one." Amina laughed, but it was shaky. "Impossible. That map is bloodline. It dies with the women." Malik reached into his jacket. The room tensed. He pulled out a worn photo, yellowed, torn at the edges. A young woman, standing beside a baobab tree. Amina's breath stopped. It was her mother, standing beside his mother. The 2 women, arms around each other, smiling, in front of a house with the same map carved into the door. The room fell silent. Malik's voice cracked. "My mother was taken from Ghana at 16, sold, escaped, raised me alone in Detroit. She said she had a sister, but the war took them apart. She spent her life searching." Amina stepped back, heart pounding. Her grandmother never told her she had an uncle, only that her mother had a twin, one taken, one escaped, and now, here he was. But before she could speak, a voice cut through. "Get out, freaks! We don't want your kind here!" The owner, a grizzled man in a plaid shirt, stormed over. "You're scaring customers. Cover that thing up, girl, and you, biker, get out before I call the cops." Malik didn't move. Amina looked down at her torn uniform. Then slowly, she reached up and unbuttoned her shirt, not in anger, not in defiance, but in truth. The entire map, a swirling constellation of symbols, lines like rivers, dots like stars, now visible. And Malik? He did the same, rolled up his sleeve, on his shoulder, the same map, but mirrored drawn by his mother, the twin sister who never forgot. No one spoke. Not the truckers, not the nurses, not even the owner, because what they saw wasn't just ink. It was history, a living record of a family torn by time, fire, and forced silence, now reunited by a single symbol. An old black woman in the corner stood up. She walked over, trembling. "My grandmother had that mark," she whispered. "She was taken from the same village. She said the map was a promise, that one day we'd all find our way back." Another man, a young college student, pulled out his phone. "I've seen this before, in a museum in Accra. They called it the return mark, given to those who escaped slavery, so their descendants could find home." Tears fell, not just from Amina, from Malik, from strangers who suddenly remembered their own grandmother's whispers, their parents' silence, the names they never knew. The owner backed away, shame in his eyes, because he hadn't seen a freak. He'd seen a miracle, and he'd tried to silence it. Malik turned to Amina. "I've spent 40 years angry," he said, "riding, fighting, pushing the world away. I thought I had no family, no past." He touched the map on her chest, gently, like a prayer. "Now I know. I was never lost. I was just waiting to be found."